guys, so we are outside in the greenhouse and we are going to be dissecting a plant. I'm going to have to work over here because I have this area right here, but I will be coming back and forth to the camera. So the plant we have is already a pre-established plant. It's not a budding or it's not a little flower, but it is called a petunia. And the way I remember a petunia, which is this is kind of part of a horticulture too, where you have to do plant ID, it kind of looks like a flute. So petunias are a flute, which is just the inside to what you'll be learning next semester. For starters, I'm going to take the whole flower out of the pot. And I might can do it over here. I might need to go set it down on the surface. Let's see. And this, you all should be taking notes because you're going to have to turn in your journals, your learning journals for grade. So as we can see, like before, these are the lateral roots. All of these little sections right here, these are lateral roots because they surround the flower. But it's not, excuse me, but it's not a directly in the center. So if I'm gonna go over the grass. I took off the lateral roots, which is kind of like the spider web looking roots that branch, also known as the branch root. I took off those. I'm going to put those back in the pot. And I got down to the middle. I'm going to take off a little more, and they just break, so it's not really easy to take apart. And you can see that in the middle of this is a better description. In the middle, right there, that's the more of the branch roots that are leading in to the main root. But anyways, that is called the taproot, like we said before in the classroom. I'm taking off all of these right there. Some more. And this flower, these flowers are probably going in the trash because it'll be a miracle if they live again after I'm dissecting it. So then we're going to move on. This is like the layer of the dirt. So if you can even see the roots falling right there. So if you're looking at the diagram that you drew, then this right here is like the layer of the dirt between the outside and the under the ground. If this would be like in underground. So next, we are going to take this flower and we are going to look for the stem. The stem is kind of far down under here, but we can see it. I'm just going to go ahead and break off this right here so we can see it better. I'm sorry, there's bugs all around me. If I can break it all. Okay. That right here that I just put up, that is a root, that is the stem. Customarily, you really can't see the stem because they are so far down into the soil that that little section that you see right there, I don't know if you can really see that, that right there is the stem. Okay, moving on, we're going to go find the auxiliary bud. Now that I broke the stem off, I'm going to have a better description to take the flower apart and really show you. But this right here, these little tiny, I'm going to set that down. These little buds looking things, you can see that right there between, that is the auxiliary bud because it is below the vegetation shoot on this, because the vegetation shoot would be this right here where the bundle of flowers is right here. So all of these tiny ones that you're seeing between is the auxiliary bud. Okay, we're just going to do it with this section because it's already in my hand. But it's on each stem, and like when a flower grows, I'll probably show you on this one better, when a flower grows and it has that main stem, like right here, that's the main stem, and it grows and it has that. So on each of these that's the major stem. On each of these minor stems, I guess you would call it, they all have the anatomy that we did, they all have the diagram. Well, this one little thing, the 5 of these on here have the same thing. So moving on, this is called the vegetation shoot. I'm just going to have to kind of break the flower just to show you how it is. And it's fine if the flowers do break when you're experimenting. So this right here is the vegetation shoot. So I can show you that these little buds right here, those are called the pedicle buds because they're the APVs and they are above the vegetation shoot. And I can also show you that is another apical bud, but that is about to be a flowering apical bud because I don't know if you can really see that there. That is about to be a flower. So they said it's the last stages before it starts to become a full-fledged petunia. After that, we are going to find the node. Like I said, the node, anything above the node is not functional. It's not a functional part of the flower. So when we find this node, it's right there. You can kind of see it where that right there is the node. Kind of like the shoot of the flower is called the node of the flower. The inner node is this section right here, right under the vegetation bud, right before the flower. And then, of course, the reproductive shoot, which is also known as the flower, is right here. And this one, you can really tell where you reproduct at. Some flowers are flat flowers, so you really can't really see what they are. But this one right here, the reproductive, is in the shoot. I'm just going to put that over the camera so you can see. But that is what the reproductive shoot is. And I can also show you on a lot of these other ones, like I'll pick this one up right here that fail. They can have more than one reproductive shoot on one single stem. And I forgot to mention that when we were inside, so everybody should maybe add that into their journal, that one single stem can have more than one reproductive shoot. Like this one, for example, has 2 and then has 2 flowering apical buds coming up and another apical bud that's not flowering. And I'm going to try to point that out. It's kind of really hard to see on the camera, but that right there is a apical bud. That's where it's not flowering yet. That right there is a flowering apical bud. Yeah, it's kind of really dark, but I'm just going to show you anyways. And this right here is a really good example of one. But that right there, right here, is another flowering apical bud. So these two right here are already, they're just the flower. They're no longer called a apical bud. I can just flip off. These are called the flower, the reproductive shoot. But most people this day and time is just the flower. But there it is. And always remember that this one right here, the petunia, this is called the it's called a petunia, but in horticulture too, that you'll take later on if you decide to. In Plant ID, remember that the flute, like you're blowing the flute, is called a petunia. But anyways, if you have any questions while you're dissecting your plant, just let me know. And remember to turn in your learning logs when you get done. And also, you will have a quiz in the next few weeks after we get done all of our objectives, and the diagram will be on there. So I suggest everybody take it home and review the diagram and make sure to turn in your learning logs before the end of the day. Thank you.